Hello all, welcome to my channel. My name is Mrs. Prajakta Bapat. Today we are going to discuss types of cost. Let us understand first what is cost. Cost meaning any amount incurred for producing goods or services. So there are various costs which are incurred during this process, right from raw material till advertisement expenditure incurred for sale of goods. Now, these costs are classified into various classifications. One of the classification is according to the behavior. So today we are going to discuss classification according to the behavior. Now, according to this classification, there are three types of cost. First is fixed cost, second is variable cost, third is semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Now, let us understand one by one. First, fixed cost. Now, what is fixed cost? Name itself suggests that fixed cost meaning it remains fixed for a specific time period. And there will be a certain amount which has to be incurred, which has to be paid for a specific time period. So, for example, rent. If you have taken a specific place or a flat on a rental basis, okay. Now, though it is not occupied for a specific month, it might not be occupied, but still we have to pay the amount of rent. Same way in industries also. Now, during COVID times, the industries were closed. Production was absolutely zero. The level of activity was zero, but still rent had to be paid because it is one of the fixed cost. Same way, insurance premium has to be paid on a monthly or on an annually basis. Depreciation, though you are using that particular asset or not, but you have to show depreciation. You have to record depreciation as one of the expense. So fixed costs meaning costs which are incurred, which are paid though there is no level of activity or though there is a double production. That means whether there is increase or decrease in the production, it will not affect fixed cost. Fixed cost has to be incurred. So these are some of the expenses. These are some of the examples of fixed cost. Now let us discuss the characteristics of fixed cost. So first, it remains fixed. Obviously it remains fixed for a time period, for a short time period, and normally fixed cost remains same in total, but it might change in unit per unit. So what do you mean by this? So for example, if we are paying fixed cost of 1 lakh rupees. Now, if in a particular month I produced 10,000 units, so 1 lakh upon 10,000 will give you 10 rupees. So it is as good as I'm paying 10 rupees per unit as a part of fixed cost. And second month, if I'm producing 20,000 units, which is double of a previous month. So now 1 lakh upon 20,000, 5 rupees will be your fixed cost per unit. So here it is changed in per unit, but it remains same in total. Okay, so level of activity will not affect your fixed cost. It will remain same. Obviously, after a specific time period, in a long run, it will not remain same, but in short run, it will remain same. Let us discuss the second type of cost according to the behavior, according to the nature of cost. So second is variable cost. Now what is variable cost? Variable cost is just opposite to fixed cost. It changes according to the level of activity. As soon as level of activity increases or decreases, variable cost will get changed in the same proportion. So for example, raw material. Now, if you are increasing level of activity, immediately you'll have to procure more raw material. If your level of activity is absolutely zero, or if it is reduced, your supply of raw material will also be changed accordingly. For example, during lockdown, during COVID period, industries were closed, so they did not require raw material. So they did not buy additional raw material because as production is stopped, there is no use of raw material. Same way, the laborers who are paid on a daily basis according to their performance, unit wise, those who are paid on a piece rate system. They were not needed because there was no production, so they were not hired, meaning such type of costs are variable cost, and they vary according to the in the same proportion of level of activity. These are some of the examples of variable cost. Now let us discuss the characteristics. So it changes according to the level of activity and it remains fixed per unit. So for example, if you are producing certain goods, now for 1 unit of that particular product, you require raw material of 10 rupees. Now, this, though you produce 1 unit, you will have to use raw material of 10 rupees. If you produce 100 units, you will have to buy raw material at 10 rupees only. 10 into 100, it will be 1000. Now, there are various other factors like if time goes, like if you think of same thing in a long run, it will get changed. But as of now, per unit cost remains same. Okay, so that means if you are buying raw material for one activity for 1 unit also, it will be same, and in a bulk quantity for 1 lakh units maybe it will be same. So in total it will get changed, but per unit it will remain same. If you are paying your laborers at the rate 20 rupees for per unit, for producing 1 unit, they get 20 rupees. So if a particular worker worked, he could produce 1 unit in a day. So you will give him 20 rupees. And the other worker, if he has produced 2 units, you will pay him 40 rupees. And accordingly, it will be increased or decreased. So what it says that per unit fixed cost remains same. Now the third one is semi-variable cost. Now what is semi-variable cost? Semi-variable meaning combination of both. Combination of fixed plus variable. So such expenses are having both the components. It has a specific component of fixed cost and it has a component of variable cost. So for example, electricity bill. The electricity bill which you get every month, okay, it changes, but if you are suppose specific houses closed, then also certain amount of bill is generated by the MSEB, by the electricity provider companies, right? Now, what is that minimum amount of bill generated? So that bill is nothing but the fixed cost, because that charges are towards your connection, that charges are towards your electricity meter. Okay, so that are fixed cost. Now above that fixed cost, so this fixed cost is same for all. This fixed cost is set up at a specific standard rate, which will be same. Now, above this, whatever is your usage of electricity, accordingly your electricity bill will be increased. It will be generated. So that above cost will be considered as a variable. Now, if the flat is not, if it is vacant, if nobody is using that electricity there, they'll get only minimum bill, that is only fixed cost, and the flat which is in use, the electricity is used, so variable cost also will be added along with it. That is semi-variable, or it is also called as semi-fixed, because certain part is fixed, certain part is variable. Same way telephone expenses. If you have a landline phone or if you have a postpaid connection, certain part of expenses are fixed. So though you are not using that phone, you will have to pay a specific cost because you have that connection, you are getting that service, and you have the landline phone with you. So that is called as fixed cost. Over and above that, whatever calls you make, the cost will get increased. Or if you don't make any calls, variable cost will not be added. Only fixed cost will be charged. So that's why it is called as semi-variable and semi-fixed, because it is combination of both. Thank you.